Hey y'all, welcome back to another What Else is Going On, aka We Go podcast episode. I'm your girl, your host, Taria. We're getting ready to get into the Real Housewives of Potomac reunion part 3. I have to say I enjoyed myself. I don't normally enjoy reunions. I know some of y'all have heard me say that before. I'm not a reunion girly. But I enjoyed myself. I really did. Y'all let me know if y'all did. I know I've seen mixed reviews. I've seen a lot of people saying that they enjoyed it. They're enjoying the reunion. They're comparing it to Salt Lake City, but in reverse, where how Salt Lake City had a good season and a mid reunion. And some people may say a bad reunion, and some people are saying Potomac had a bad season or a not entertaining season, but an entertaining reunion. And I think that's what this reunion was, entertaining. It wasn't necessarily like meat and potatoes, if you will, but it was entertaining to me. So let's get into it. So we pick up where we left off last week. Kay is saying it's been a fun reunion. Andy said we see that Mia's not on the couch because we know she glided off the stage. The way Mia walks, it's just like boom, boom, you know, like that old, like old timey walk, sexy walk. Anyway, Andy says he's going to switch gears and hopefully Mia comes back. So now we're in Mia's dressing room, and child, she's taking off that furry arm shawl and she's leaving for real. I said, oh, I thought it was going to be the dramatics for Mia. No, she's leaving for real. On stage, Ashley says, no guys. Andy says, no guys. And Kay's like, for real, child, Greg is going to wear me out. He could have went home. You know, he's not since the guys aren't going to be caught on stage. And then Andy says, Stacey, I know you didn't want TJ to come. Bravo invited him through Stacey, but Stacey didn't want him to come. She said she didn't want him to come because they're not together. So Wendy says, are you sure? Are you sure? She said, because you mentioned earlier that Eddie and TJ are friends, and they faced Eddie and Greg FaceTimed TJ, and he said he didn't come because you didn't pay him. You paid him to come on the show to be your love interest, and he said run him his money because the money is funny. The ladies are eating it up, falling out over the place. Kay says, I've been saying that. Wendy said she paid him some money, but she still owes him a lot. Giselle said, you owe him back money? They are laughing, getting their life. Stacey said, let me say this. I absolutely don't believe what you're saying. Wendy said, it's on camera. Stacey kept saying, I'd love to see it. I'd love to see it. Wendy said, oh, they're going to run it, baby. Let me see if we can run it, run it. They're going to run it, baby. Andy is talking to the control room and asks if they have it. They confirm they do. Stacey said, I'd love to see it. Something about this, I have said from the beginning that I thought Stacey was playing in our face, right? Or maybe not the beginning, but close to the beginning, because we still have to feel her out a little bit. I felt like Stacey and TJ, but Stacey especially was playing in our face. We didn't know. I'm sure that Eddie didn't know that TJ was going to call him. So there's a part of me that's like Stacey is playing into it all, but I doubt that she knew it beforehand. But it's her reaction still feels inauthentic, even if TJ, this was all of it was real, right? I would hope that they didn't go through all this to plan it. However, her reaction just seems inauthentic. And I don't know if because she's trying to keep it together. I don't know, but we'll get more into it. So Stacey saying she loves to see it. All the ladies want to see it, but the cameraman who filmed it is now filming in the room with Mia. We get to Mia, and the producer asks her if she's taking a break. She says, I'm leaving. We see her sashay Shantae away and out of that room. And the man, she knows she felt the man trying to undo the corset on the dress, and she's steady walking. Had that man fighting for his life to get them little silk pieces out. I said, come on, you know that man is practically hanging on to the back of your back and you walking. So we're back on stage. They're telling Stacey, didn't you just call this man your best friend? If he your best friend, he's not going to lie on you. So what he's saying is true. So Wendy said, you in arrears, you in arrears. And Giselle falls out laughing. Andy asked her, does she want to call TJ? Because, yo, he didn't said all this stuff about you. They just called him. Why don't you call him? She said, I absolutely do not. And the ladies are like, why? Like, why wouldn't you call him? She said, why would I entertain a lie? Wendy said, you just said he's your best friend. Call him. And Andy says, I want you to know, boo boo, they have it on tape. So Stacy's continuing to say, I would love to see it. I'm not going to speak on something that I know is a lie. Giselle says, how much did you pay him? Jacqueline says, so TJ's lying. Um, so Giselle said she got Mia beat today. Then we see Mia and her Kate child being ushered into the black car, and she's gone off set. Giselle said, girl, you busted legs wide open. Stacy was like, less than an hour ago, I said TJ was my best friend. He's everything to me. Why would I say that if this was true, if I really paid him? She said, I just said he's one of the best people I know because he is. And this is completely unexpected. So Andy said, is it possible that maybe you and TJ aren't, like, y'all not on the same page? Giselle said, clearly, no. So Stacy's like, I stand in my truth. Show me the tape. Until then, I'm not believing nothing that y'all are putting down. Again, something about her reaction feels inauthentic. Even if it's real, it just feels inauthentic. So they bring Eddie out. Jacqueline says, I don't see why Stacy had to pay anybody. She's gorgeous. Jacqueline, I have to say, looked really pretty also. She really did. And when they showed the flashback of her at the Hatitude party and even in Lake Norman, the hair and all that, it looked really good. So she still stands firm. It didn't happen. Wendy said they're going to roll that tape back on you, boo. They're going to roll it back and you're going to be looking foolish. So Eddie comes out. They give him first chair. They want Eddie, say what happened. Eddie said TJ said he wasn't invited and he's never going to be in DC again and that someone owes him money. Stacy said, who says that? Eddie said, real slow, looked over with this wide-eyed look like, girl, who said that? You said that, girl. That's who. So Eddie said, you. Stacy said, he said, I owe him money. And Eddie said, well, he said you paid him. So Andy said, she paid him to be on the reunion or the show. So Eddie's like, look, I didn't get into the specifics. We didn't get into that level of detail. He just said she paid him. Stacy said, so I paid him to be my best friend and I owe him money. That's what TJ said. Eddie said, in a nutshell, child, they fall out laughing. Jacqueline said, well, that's not very Christian-like. And Giselle said, speak on that, Jacqueline. So Eddie was saying, look, the reason I initially called him was because the men were there and they were looking for TJ. They expected him to be there. They weren't there. He said, I didn't call him to be messy, but he did sound like he was upset. He also sounded like he's tired of the narrative that's being painted of him being a flamboyant person. He was just tired of being played with. And he said she owes him money. Stacy said, I can't imagine that he would say those things because they're not true. So she doesn't believe it. Wendy says, so you still don't believe it? And Stacy said, no, because they're not true, Wendy. So Giselle was like, well, why would he then, like, you don't believe it, but why is he lying to Eddie? Stacy says, look, I'm not saying Eddie's lying. I'm saying that whatever it is, I just don't believe it. So she keeps saying she don't believe it. And I wanted her to say, so are you saying you don't believe? Well, no, I was going to say, are you saying that you don't believe that TJ meant it or that TJ said it? But if you're saying you don't believe it, then you're saying you don't believe it was said. Because she's not saying it's not true. She's saying, I don't believe he said that to y'all. Again, I don't know, something very inauthentic. I'm gonna keep saying that because it's like, So Kay said, you're saying TJ is lying. Stacy said, I'm saying that TJ is hurt that he's not here and that we're not together. Eddie said it didn't sound like he was upset that he's not here and you guys aren't together. It sounded like he's upset because of the story that's been painted about him. And I guess you had some dealings with him that he ain't happy about. So Stacy said, did he tell you that I paid him to be on the show? Andy asked you that question a moment ago, and your answer was, Eddie said, yes. Like, girl, round and round in circles. He told me you paid him to be on the show. I think she was playing semantics. Did he tell you I paid him to be on the show? Or did he tell you I paid him? Or did he tell you that I owe him money? Which one is it? Did I pay him? Do I owe him money? And I think Eddie's trying to say it's both. You paid him to be on the show and you still owe him. You still have a balance due for his presence on Potomac. Mm-mm-mm. So Eddie said again, I wasn't calling to be messy. Stacey tells Wendy, look, I love you, Wendy. And because of that love, I have a level of respect for Eddie. I don't know y'all to be liars for clout, but this is just not true. Now, in that moment, I'm saying, is she saying this is not true, meaning what TJ is saying is not true, or what Wendy and Eddie are saying is not true? So she said, and if it is true, I invite TJ to say those things to my face. Um, so Wendy's like, so call him. And she's like, I'm not going to call him about a lie. Wendy said, now I call BS. Because if you're saying you won't take our word for it, call him. See what he says. Call him. See what he says. So all the ladies are like, call him, call him. Andy's like, call him. She says she will not call him. And Giselle said, your character's in question. And Stacey said, okay, well, that's you. Girl, you is upset. Here come Ashley. For the record, there's nothing wrong if you felt like you wanted to do that to get on the show. Stacey said, let me say it so that you can hear me. I didn't need TJ to get on this platform or any platform. Let me be clear. I don't need an accessory. I said, come on. What's her name? Dominique Devereaux. She said, and I'm not going to say it again. Giselle said, I don't know why this was so funny. Giselle said, nobody here believes you. She said, I'm sure you don't care. I'm just telling you. And the world won't believe you either. The way she just said it, nobody here believes you. Andy said, you could squash it if you call him. She said, I'm sure I could call him for everybody else. It would be for everybody else's benefit. The ladies were like, no, no, no. It will be for you to help you look better. So Wendy said, look, what I'm saying is, as your friend who loves you, if you come back to this group and bring it up and say it never happened, or that TJ cleared it up with you, nobody's going to believe you. None of the women in the group are going to buy it. And your character is always going to be called into question. She said, so I say all this in love. Giselle said, I say it in truth. I said, girl. Stacey said, I accept it with love. I was like, okay. Stacey said, it don't matter. I know who I am and whose I am. No, she didn't say that. She said, I know who I am. I stand in my truth. And let me just say this. If any of your opinions have changed, I'll give you that. I don't care. I said no. Now she's putting on. She's putting on for the city. She's being dramatical. Andy says, like Andy has a control room in his ear, and he said Mia has left. And Giselle said, the building, she's not coming back. And he says they do have the video of TJ and they're going to bring it out, to Andy on the phone. And he's going to try to play it. Oh, excuse me, y'all. So they bring out the phone and Andy goes to sit next to Stacey. And Ashley's like, what about us? We invested. Andy's like, she got to see it. Let her see it first. So they play it. Child, the ladies are falling out and stunned. And Stacey's like, what? What did he say? I couldn't hear. They play it again. Jacqueline said, and you were calling Mia a liar? Because remember, Stacey was calling Mia a liar about the whole Miami thing. Giselle said, when Jacqueline said, you were calling me a liar, Giselle said, Mia's a liar too. But we knew this from her first season. Anyway, Stacey said, it's one thing to see someone disrespect you and make you question your relationship. Now it's hurtful. I can't imagine him saying that. The ladies are like, and Giselle says, ma'am. Andy said, you heard him say it. Ashley said, under her breath, you think she paid him Cash App, Zelle, Venmo, or the receipts? Now that's interesting because if y'all watched the video I played earlier, TJ is getting off a plane talking about there was an earthquake or something like that near where he is. He was getting calls, excuse me again, y'all, about it. And then he was like, should I drop some earthquakes? Sir, if you're going to drop them, drop them. All this playing back and forth. Sir. Anyway, so Stacey says, I've never paid TJ a dime. I've never owed him anything. Andy said, well, were you like, hey, I'll pay your way out here if you come shoot with me? I'll pay your expenses to fly here, any of that. Stacey said, I've never paid for him to come and see me. It's not true. And I can't believe he's saying that. Wendy said, for the record, sorry you're going through this, but my man wasn't lying. I need to clear his name. Giselle said, this is not about Eddie. So Wendy said, I need to clear my husband's name. Sorry. Stacey said she feel like the rug been pulled out underneath her. Giselle said, CJ's going to have receipts and put them on Instagram. Again, we see him on Instagram because you know he watched the reunion. Wendy said, especially when this airs, and Kay said, the receipts are going to come. Stacey said, I never paid him, did not promise to pay him. No. So they're like, well, why is he doing this? Why would he call you? And Andy said, why would he call you whack? That's so mean. She says, the only thing I can tell you is hurt people hurt people. They said, girl, the cliches. Stacey said, listen, and this is where I get where she was trying to go with it. She said, look, every one of y'all have doubts about TJ. So they go to interrupt her. Andy's like, let her finish. She said, Andy said, let her finish. She's about to vindicate y'all, meaning because of all the stuff y'all said about him, she's about to say you're right. Stacey says, y'all had doubts about TJ, talked about him really poor. Now there's some salaciousness about him coming out, and you want to believe him over me when you know me. Basically, y'all talked bad about him and thought he was so bad. Now here he is saying something salacious and negative about me, and you're going to believe the same man you just talked about? Like during the season, I can get what she was trying to say. But I feel like during the season, there were no instances of him. I mean, outright that like a camera showed a flashback of him lying, right? Other than him lying about being her man. I mean, that's one big lie. But it's not like he was on the show and the ladies were like, he's a liar, he's a liar. They did say he wasn't telling the truth as far as like they felt like he was sleeping with someone, just not her. But I get how she was trying to be like, y'all dog this man, and now you want to believe him because it's salacious when y'all know me. But at the same time, it's not like they dogged him in the way of he was a proven liar during the season. And now they want to believe him just so they don't believe you. So I get what she was trying to do, but it didn't necessarily land for me. But again, I do see what she was trying to do. Wendy said, I think it's odd you trying to, because she was basically saying, y'all are trying to hurt me. So Wendy was like, I think this odd that you trying to flip this on us. We tried to help you. We were sisters to you. 5 to 10 minutes ago, I told you if you don't clear it up, you're going to look bad. They rolled the tape. It was 27 minutes ago. Wendy said, now they done pulled the phone out on you and you look crazy. She says, I don't look crazy. Giselle says, yes. So Stacey said, I can't clear up something I can't explain. So Andy's like, so you want to call him? Call him, clear it up. Stacey said, I will absolutely be calling him with my attorney. Girl. Andy was chilling on the couch. He liked it. Andy was engaged in this reunion and having fun, and it showed. So they take a little break. They're back. Andy asked Stacey, what's the best-selling item or the highest selling she's ever sold on QVC? I think he said best-selling. She said jeans because I was wearing him. Y'all wearing them. The way Giselle started laughing, it wasn't forced. Like she was actually laughing. Like it wasn't tears, tears, tears like last season. It was actually laughter. It was funny. Karen's not here. We getting into that package anyway, Karen. You may be getting away with not addressing it, but they gonna address it. So a viewer writes in and says, Karen's been basically abstaining from drinking during the season. Have y'all ever seen that side of Karen, the body cam footage? They all say yes. And then Andy says, I don't know if this was a part of the question. I think so. Do you think she has a drinking problem? A drinking problem. Wendy said, no. And then Ashley says, I think she used alcohol to cope with some of her difficulties. I will say, Ashley had a politically correct answer for that. That was a pretty good one. But another viewer said the word of the year when it came to Karen was deflection. Do you all think she was lashing out because she was trying to distract from her case? They all say yes, of course. You know, Andy brings up how Karen had was coming for Jacqueline's throat basically throughout the season. And he asked her watching it back and knowing the verdict, how do you feel? So she says, Mia threw me under the bus about our private conversation. Ashley chimed in and said, well, actually, you brought it up. I don't know why they didn't show it. And they show a flashback of Jacqueline saying, She sounded kind of tipsy, maybe. I don't know. Mia still brought it up first. Mia brought it up, and then Jacqueline said that because they did show her saying that. So Jacqueline was right, I believe. Y'all fact check me, but Mia did bring it up, and then Jacqueline said all that. So um, she said she didn't bring it up in a malicious manager. She didn't bring it up in a malicious way, but what really bothered her was that Karen dragged her. Basically, put her hands in Jacqueline's hair, wrapped her fist around, and just drug her up and down those Potomac filming streets all season long. Jacqueline said it was out of concern. So Giselle was like, look, Karen's concern was that she didn't know if anything basically in the show was going to be able to use against her in her case. And she was trying to tell you that, but you weren't getting it. And Wendy was like, I would agree with you, Giselle, except she kept pushing it back. When if I was her, I just would have had the trial before the season. I mean, the trial before the season started. Giselle was like, yeah, but she was totally. Giselle said totally, but she was trying to get stuff thrown out, like bad paperwork. There were no Miranda rights and all that stuff. Remember that? Karen tried that in June of 2024. She also tried to say that when she was giving her account of what happened, she was giving it to the EMT and the cop overheard it. So the cop didn't get the information firsthand from her. So she was saying that was breaking some type of code. So she tried to get out of it through loopholes and things, and it just wasn't working for her. So Andy then brings up Jacqueline showing up with the 8 balloons for the 8 citations. And Andy was like, she was like, I was really wanting Karen to be able to breathe and just kind of let go. And Andy said, come on now, girl, you were trying to be shady. She said, initially I was, especially when she went after my kid's father, PP, the parent partner or whatever he is. That's not her new baby daddy. She said that. Remember that. She said she wanted it to be positive and didn't want Karen to be so stressed out. So he said, did Karen wind up suing you? Because remember, Karen said, I've begun the process of pressing charges. Jacqueline said, well, all the legal stuff Karen got going on, she ain't gonna have no money left to sue. One of them said that was a read. I think Kay said, okay, that was a read. So Andy then says to Kay, so you've been a really close ally. How do you feel? Kay was like, look, I'm disappointed. I've been close to Karen. She has no reason not to tell me the truth. With Greg's clinic, they have a substance abuse program, and she extended that to Karen, and Karen was like, I got it, I'm fine. She said, and it just makes her sad. Andy asked, why do they think Karen decided to take it to trial? Ashley said, because she had terrible legal counsel who advised her to take that, knowing that the tapes were out there. Stacy says she believes Karen didn't see the body cam footage prior. She saw it the first time when we saw it. So they were like, nah. So Wendy said, and this is a good point, weeks ago, I remember this, her counsel asked for the footage to be suppressed before she went to trial. So it's clear that they were aware of the footage. And not only were they aware of the footage, they were aware of the context of the footage and didn't want it out. So one could argue, well, her lawyer seen it, but Karen didn't. I just don't see that. I want to see footage of myself. Giselle said it's a big delusion. And then Giselle said she didn't want to take any deal. Now, look, Andy asked Giselle, was she offered a deal? I'm going to take what Giselle says with a grain of salt, because remember, everything with Giselle is always hearsay, and it's not always the truth. I'm not even saying she's adding sauce to this. This is just hearsay, but I'm going to bring up something else. So Giselle said, I've heard 6 months house arrest. I heard 60 days in jail. I don't know if the 6 months house arrest was offered. I think that's what they wanted, her team. I don't think that was offered to her, because it just wasn't. And Giselle said, I just want to put out there, her lawyer did not tell me this. I want to make that very clear. I just heard it from a credible source. And she said, I truly think Karen feel like she would win. Now let's go back. December of 2024. This is according to Pop Culture. And there were some other people that ran the story as well. Karen didn't get the Christmas present she was hoping for. The self-proclaimed grand dame of the Real Housewives of Potomac has been found guilty of DUI after a 2-day trial in Maryland. She was found guilty of 5 out of 6 related charges, as she was initially charged with 8 overall. Fox 5 reports. A jury didn't come to the decision lightly, as they were reportedly deadlocked and deliberated for more than 5 hours before a verdict was made final. Hugo wrecked her 2017 Maserati in March 2024, later blaming the ordeal of grieving her late mother, who passed away 5 years ago, and being anxious of the forthcoming Mother's Day holiday. Hugo pleaded not guilty to all 8 charges. Prosecutors originally sought for the reality star to serve 60 days in jail. So the prosecutors originally, with these 4D, what was get ready to be her 4th drinking offense. Prosecutors originally sought for the reality star to serve 60 days in jail. Her lawyers opted for a jury trial and hoped for no jail time. Huger's lawyers also previously attempted to have the case thrown out, alleging an illegal search and seizure, but a judge shot that down. She faces up to 2 years in prison. Isn't that crazy? Her fate will be decided on a hearing on January 29, 2025, but we know it ended up being February 26, 2025. Yeah, she faced up to 2 years. The judge gave her that and suspended 1. So they originally wanted her to serve 60 days in jail. All right, let's get back to the recap. So Andy brought up Andy telling Ashley, clankety clank, and Ashley said, I'm not going to, he said, was it vindication for you? She said, I ain't going to lie. She thought about it in her mind. But more so, she's been thinking about the night after the accident. And this journalist, I'm glad they're considering bloggers as journalists now, because we know good and well it was no journalist. Anyway, a journalist was texting her things about the incident. And one of the things she wanted to ask Karen if she was there the day was, one of the journalists said there was a person in the car with Karen that was actually driving the car. Now, in the body cam footage that they played, people missed it the first time. But then, so in the body cam footage, Karen says, she's talking to Ray, and she said she was not driving. She said, I didn't drive the car, because Ray's like, we got into a little wreck. And she says, I didn't drive the car either. And for them to decide to hop out is incredible. The security you hired for me. Ray said, was he here? Again, back to the body cam footage. Karen is saying, I didn't drive the car either. And for them to decide to hop out is incredible. The security you hired for me. Ray says, was he here? Child. Andy said, do we know who it is? Ashley says, I didn't get a name. Ashley, we heard things about Michael too. I didn't hear from a credible source. Anyway, a viewer wanted to know where Karen was before the accident, because she said she was with her girlfriends at a bar or a restaurant or something like that. I think a bar, but no girlfriends came forward to testify. Giselle said, I do believe she was at a place that was like 4 minutes from her home. Wendy goes, like she was getting ready to say something, and she's like, not going to say it. Now, it's interesting. Giselle said she was at a place like 4 minutes from her home. Again, she heard from a credible source. But in the scene that we're going to talk about a little later, that Karen and Ray shot, Karen says she was at a friend's house. And I thought that's what the article reported. Let me see. I just want to see. I was trying to find the original article. It came out, let me see, because I wanted to see what they said. Oh man, I was trying to see if it came up again. Because I thought she said that she was out with a girlfriend too. So Karen says she was. I just want to see really quick, because she said she was at a girlfriend's house. She was out with a friend before the accident. Let's see. I said Karen, y'all. Like, there's only one Karen in the world. Let's do Karen Huger. So let's see. I thought the old article would come up, but She said it happened after her being in a super emotional state. I was trying to see. I was trying to see what she initially said because remember her story changed so much. Let's see. Remember in 2016, she said she wasn't driving. She was pulled over in a spot. Okay, she said she was in a super emotional state. Okay, here we go. She had been at dinner with a friend where they discussed emotional issues, including Karen's late mother. Karen said the dinner had made her emotional and she was bawling while trying to get home, causing her to swerve in order to avoid a car driving at her. She made no mention of being intoxicated or arrested. So she said she was at a dinner with a friend, but then in this video, she said she was at her friend's house. So it's like, did Karen forget what she said? Because her story has changed more than once. Remember, there was a deer also. She said, child, it's like, okay. Anyway, next they play that scene of Ray and Karen, that produced scene. I said, now where's Karen? Because the woman that was in that video and in the video, the first half of the reunion that made that little video to the ladies who she was thanking in her white, that is not Karen Huger. That is a filter. Who, and I'm not even saying it like it looks like like that she's using a filter. It didn't look like Karen to me. It's like, Karen, what in the world? Laid up in bed in this white. Like, it's like, all of that was planned, laid up in bed with the white, just reading a book. I said, Karen, Ray coming in with his lines. Now, this is one day, literally before she checked herself into the recovery center. Ray brings her in either tea or coffee or something. She goes right into it and says, I didn't watch the tape before the trial, so I had to sit in that courtroom and watch. I could not run. She had to face it. Um, she said, I know you didn't either. You would have told me about them. She said, she had to watch it because nothing from that night was connecting with her. You were blackout and you don't remember anything, probably. Your whole memory from that night is probably gone because she kept saying it didn't connect. So she said, again, and according to David's testimony, Ray said it wasn't you. Like, it wasn't her in those videos. She said, according to David's testimony, her cousin, who was at the trial, when she hit the tree, she was blacked out already. She said, I need to tell you something, Ray. Like, she's admitting it was self-medication. I started 7 years ago when mom and dad died. I started taking antidepressants and she was fine until they didn't work anymore. So she had to up it more and more and more. So she kept upping her own doses. She said, instead of going back to the doctor, she adjusted her medication. So then I have a question. Was she taking them regularly or just as she felt as needed? Because if you're upping your dosage, meaning you're taking more, that means you'd run out of the medicine more. Did you just have an open prescription, or was the doctor just prescribing them and not saying, now, wait a minute, normally these last 30 days, these are lasting 15 days? Nobody, I just wondered about that. She said that night she self-medicated. She said, I remember going to a friend's home, having a Stella, a beer. She didn't like the beer. So she said, I'm going to do champagne. And she just started drinking champagne, but she forgot she had taken the antidepressants and upped her dosage also. So Ray was like, that's the tricky part. I said, this is pure comedy. Karen laying up in that bed like a halo around her bare feet with the nails, not the long nails that she normally has, but her natural nails painted. I said, Karen, the soft jewelry, the soft curl, the Joan Crawford, like little body wave. I said, Karen, Karen, Karen. She says, uh, you basically they address her not drinking and driving. Ray said, we were here before, and it's kind of bad because we're here now again. But that's why I hired the driver for you. She said, yes, you hired the driver for me so that I would not drink and drive. And they even made jokes about it, old blue eyes. So they was hitting the points. Giselle said, I can't. So um, Karen talks about the disappointment in herself. Ray said, but before you beat yourself up too bad, give yourself some grace. There's 6 million car crashes every year in the United States. Raymond, come on. Karen said, how many of them are because you self-medicated and was driving? Because you were driving drunk, Karen. Child, I can't. So Karen says, but I put myself and people in danger. That's why I'm going, checking myself into this place that's not court ordered. Ray said, that's beautiful. Ray said, I'm sorry you're going through this. Um, Ray said, is this place grand enough for the grand dame? And Karen said, I'm going to retire the grand dame and give the world a dose of Karen because I think that's enough. In fact, I know she is. And scene is over. Giselle said that was no accountability to me. I don't know what that was. Y'all need to scrap it and take it out. Do her some favors. I said, ooh. Andy said, well, it looked like to me she was trying to accept responsibility, which is something that we haven't seen yet. Giselle said, so she started out talking about drinking beer, not drinking the beer, champagne. And then Wendy said, well, why were there beers in the car? If she didn't like the beers, why were there the beers in the car? Giselle said, oh, I'm sorry. Ashley, now here come Ashley. Ashley said, well, on the train ride up here, there was a gentleman there and she started chatting with him and told him that she was on the show. And he Googled the show and said, I recognize this lady. I used to work at this place. And I think he said Legal Seafood in Montgomery Mall. I'm not sure if that's what it's called. And the gentleman said she used to come in there every day and drink. This is, excuse me, something that's been happening for a long time. You know, Ashley has a lot of people that she talks to. I have a family member who worked at this restaurant. He actually works at the restaurant, and he works at different restaurants. And he said this guy would come in. This certain restaurant basically did illegal bets on horse races, and I forget if he said every Tuesday or Wednesday or how many. This was some years ago. They would come in, and the guy that ran it was also the bartender there. So he would like undercover take their bets or whatever, the guy. And this guy would come in, older guy, he'd come in every whatever date the person that I know told me that it was. And he said the guy who was running it from the restaurant said to the person I know, you know who this person is? Do you know who his wife is? Do you know who his wife is? And the guy allegedly told Michael, pull out your phone, show him who your wife is. Pulls out his phone, pulls up a picture of Ashley. And the person I know said, oh, she looks familiar. She on TV, ain't she? And Michael was proud. Yeah, she's one of the Real Housewives of Potomac, blah, 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 blah. So they talk about that for a little bit. The person I know tells me that the family member, they talk about that for a little bit. They do their little bets. Boom, boom, boom. It's a wrap. When after, everybody clears out, the guy who was the bartender that was also running this illegal gambling thing says, man, him and his wife are wild, yo. They both are bisexual. They both like men and women, which is not a big deal, but we know that that's the rumor that has been out, and Ashley has denied that. So, and the only reason I'm saying that is because I think it's interesting that she brought up the journalist about Karen. Now she's bringing up a random man on a train. Well, I know somebody who said they met your husband, now ex-husband, at a restaurant, and this was going on for a while. And then the guy was, the guy said they like to smash men together. That's what he said. So I'm just saying, and I'm saying allegedly, this is all alleged. But if we want to talk about the things that we've heard, Ashley, there's some stuff out there about you too. Well, your your ex-mans. But anyway, so they don't believe that she watched the footage. Stacey's saying, I was right. Because remember, Stacey said maybe she didn't watch the footage. They were like, nope. Wendy brings up again, her legal counsel knew because they submitted an appeal to have it thrown out. This was so eerie, y'all. It was like surreal. watching this now. Andy said her sentence is in a few weeks. How do you think it's going to pan out for her? The speculation is she can get up to a year or two in jail. Ugh. They all think that's terrible. They're like, it's 61. Be going to jail at 61 is a problem that she created for herself, though. Kay says, I don't want to envision that that's a possibility. Hopefully, she can get something like home monitoring and they'll be gracious toward her because, she took steps to get help. I think they've been gracious 3 other times, honestly. So Andy says, we're ending tonight in an interesting spot. Kay, you just went shopping for rings. Ashley, by the time this airs, you should actually probably be divorced. Ashley said, I will be divorced. And she is. Congratulations to her. Andy says, Wendy and Giselle, I have to say, I really enjoyed your banter tonight. I think the two of you might have more in common than not. Giselle says, and they both kind of look at him with the same look. And then Giselle says, the jury's still out. He tells Stacey she had a great first season. Child, why Giselle was over there saying crash and burn? No, he said, but it ended kind of. And Giselle says, crash and burn. He says, where do you go with TJ? She said, I don't go anywhere with TJ. I lost my best friend tonight. Andy said, like, oh, wow. She said, that's horrible, but I'll rise and be all right. Like Maya Angelou. Giselle said, leave Maya Angelou out of this. And child, Andy is so, he was into that reunion, he was enjoying himself. Andy says, speaking of Maya Angelou, we lost Mia Angelou. I said, Andy is funny. Oh my gosh. Giselle said, leave Maya Angelou out of this. So Andy said, speaking of Mia, like, what do y'all think? And Giselle said, I think it's whack. Like Wendy said, we have all done some nonsense and some craziness because Wendy said it at the end of part 2 when Mia was walking out. So Giselle said, I think it's whack. Like Wendy said, we have all said and done nonsense and craziness. We come to a reunion and we deal with it. We don't run out. And not only do you run out, but you run out of the building. Ashley says she stood on business the entire season. No contrition, no apologies. I said what I said and I ain't changing. She said, and now we're here. Everyone has their opinion about it. And now it's different. It's a different Mia. Wendy said, that's what I was saying to y'all earlier. That's what I was saying to her earlier. You had all this time to course correct, but you conveniently come here and now it's different. Wendy said, can I say something? I said, come on, Wendy. Wendy said, let the record reflect. I clocked Mia. Giselle said, why you always got to act like you did it first? Wendy said, because it's true. Wendy, she said, Ashley, tell the truth. I clocked Mia. I'm with you, Wendy, because I clocked her that first season too. A couple of us did. Ashley said, her age. It was about her age. That was the first one. Andy said he stands by the fact that this group has come a long way and it was an incredible season from start to finish. He said, I can't wait to see what happens next in the little town. Did he say little known town of Potomac, Maryland? It's always something. And then they were like, that's a wrap. That's a wrap. Giselle said, it was just getting good. So they wrapped it. Then the screen goes black and in white comes up. On February 26, 2025, Karen was sentenced to 2 years in prison with 1 year suspended, and she was immediately taken to start her sentence. And Taria Faison was there to witness it. It's like that wasn't on the end. I just added it. But y'all, that was the reunion. I enjoyed myself. Watching them enjoy themselves made me enjoy myself too. And Andy, it was like, he's in it. He cares. He's not just flipping through the cards. So I really enjoyed it. Y'all let me know what y'all think. Y'all let me know what y'all think about Mia leaving. Normally, they have to show up to the reunions, right, to keep their jobs. She showed up, but she left. And to me, the way they edited and it played out, she didn't tell Andy. She left. So is that the end for Mia? Do y'all think they allow Mia to come back? What do y'all think? Y'all let me know. Do y'all think she should be able to come back? Do you want to come back and see the cast hold her accountable? Jacqueline said, you ain't messing up nothing I got over here. I wonder if they'll bring Jacqueline back as a friend of, or if she'll try to be a housewife. Has she had her baby yet? Because this reunion was in January, right? So probably not. But anyway, y'all let me know what y'all thought about the reunion. All of the ladies Are you looking forward to season 10 of Potomac? And if so, why? And if not, why? I love y'all, and I will talk to y'all later. Have a good night. See ya.